All right. Austin, you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Oh. You can head to the next slide.
Hey, my video, I think, is slowing me down a little bit.
Yeah, it's really cracking up there. If you want, maybe just try going off the video and see if that helps at all.
Did that help? Does that help?
So far. If you want to go to the next screen, you can. We'll get started. All right, so I just wanted to put this back up on the screen for everyone and let you know these are your contacts. These are your HDD specialists. So they know all the ins and outs of all of our HDD tooling and drills, etc. They can help you out with any drill fluids that you might need help with. So you can also obviously contact Austin at any time, and so he'll be able to give you his contact info at the end. But in case anybody wants to screenshot this, feel free, and then we'll move on. And of course, we'll pull this back up at the end as well.
All right. This contact screen will be up at the end, like Kelsey said, with my contact information on it. So we'll go ahead and get started here. So my name is Austin Ashbacker. I work for the Intelligent Worksite Solutions team here in Pella at the factory. And Kelsey contacted me. You guys are doing these virtual HDD classes, which I think is a pretty cool way to still be able to interact with everything going on. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of our bore planning tools that we offer, as well as some of the different uses, benefits, applications of these different tools. So obviously with anything, not all tools are the same. So different tools have different abilities and different applications. So that's why we offer a variety. As you can see, there's 4 of them that we offer as far as bore planning tools go. And when it comes to horizontal directional drilling, having that plan, that pre-plan is very beneficial to a contractor, to a crew out there on the job site. Not only does it help from an organizational aspect to be able to have your different job sites, all in one place and organized nicely, it helps to create kind of a roadmap to a bore. It gives drillers a little bit more confidence. They're not drilling entirely blind. So we've got these 4 different tools that we're going to talk through a little bit and spend some time talking about each of them and what their abilities are. So the first one we're going to talk about here is Vermeer Bore Plan, and Bore Plan is a free mobile application that allows for some of your more basic HDD planning. It is available on both iOS as well as Android. So, the type of mobile device you have is not an issue. So to start out, kind of from the beginning, when you start a new bore in this app, it's gonna prompt for some user setup, for some bore setup. And on this screen, you're going to be able to specify a variety of different items based on your specific bore, your specific setup, what you have for machinery. So starting out, going along with that organizational aspect, it's going to ask for a bore name. So, that's going to help out when it comes to maybe you need to come back and look at this bore for something. It's going to help be able to identify what's what from an organizational aspect. Following that, You've got the ability to input lat long coordinates for entry and exit pits, which is very nice when it comes to seeing a visual of the job site, and we'll see kind of that visual on our next slide. But you have the ability to customize entry exit angles, entry exit pits based on that job requirement. So it takes the guesswork out. Moving into our next picture, into the tooling specifications, it's going to ask for some different machine and rod data, as well as what you've got for tooling, what you've got for drill bits, reamers, sizes. The rod data is the important piece here because it's going to help determine overbend depending on what you're pulling. If you're pulling steel, obviously your overbend is going to be calculated based off your product, but having that rod data as far as calculating overbend is important as well. Obviously, like I said, steel is going to be the driving factor in a bend radius calculation if that's the product you're going for. But it allows you to specify a lot of different tooling, product, job site information, which is helpful. So, like I said, it's helpful when it comes to getting that imagery. So in our two pictures we're seeing here, the one on the far right is going to be our aerial view, and BorePlan uses Esri imagery to give you a nice satellite image of, hopefully what our job site's going to look like. Obviously, the image isn't going to be exact when you start getting into, construction sites and places where there have been work done since this imagery has been updated. But it's a nice visual to at least give an idea of the area. And then moving to our profile view, our other picture, our side view, this is where you really are able to start visualizing what the bore is going to look like. So this screen allows the user to create some different topography based on, if you're out there marking topography information, or someone gets you topography information. You can insert your utilities here on the side view. So it allows you to see a visual of what your utilities are going to look like. And in our two pictures here, what we're seeing in the side view, the red kind of up and down line, it's really more of a halo. And what that is the center of that is your actual utility, and the halo around it is going to be a clearance zone that you specify. So if you're wanting to stay a certain distance away from utilities, it's going to give you a nice visual and show you that. Same thing in the aerial view, it's showing you where your utilities are. And below our side view, where we see our topography and utilities and our bore plan, it's going to give us a rod by rod. It's going to generate a rod by rod for us based on what that current bore line looks like. So it's a nice, again, that roadmap for your driller to be able to have something to go off of when he's drilling. So our next, well, I guess I should stop. Is there any questions on that one? From you, Kelsey, or from anybody?
Nothing yet, but we can keep going and I'll let you know if we do.
Perfect. So the next one we have to talk about is Vermeer Projects. And Projects is a subscription-based application that is available on a computer and or a mobile device. So you've got the ability to work from your computer, from your laptop, from your desktop, as well as from a phone or a tablet. The application is similar to BorePlan in the sense that it's going to give you some nice visuals, but it has much more functionality than BorePlan. So the imagery on this application is actually provided through Google Earth instead of Esri. So Esri was just your imaging. This is pulling Google Earth data, so it's actually going to pull some topography data along with that satellite image. So again, on sites where you've got some construction going on, where you've got some things that have been changed around, it's not going to be terribly accurate, but it's going to be a nice starting point when designing a bore. So there are a few different tabs on our map view here on the left side of the screen. And so the pencil you're seeing, the top tab on that top right picture on the left side of it, the pencil tab you're seeing is the draw tool. So that allows users to draw in our utilities, our bore lines, as well as a few other useful tools such as measurements. So when we're looking at this picture, we're seeing, the blue, the yellow, the orange lines. Those are our utilities that have been drawn in based on utility information that was gathered. And our kind of blue and red line, that's our bore line. And the blue and the red shows similar to bore plan. That's every rod is a change in color. But so it's going to allow you to draw on the map, as well as the tool below the draw tool, that compass, that is the mapping tool. So the mapping tool allows the user to physically map out a job site using a variety of different devices, whether you're just using your mobile device or you go to like a sub-meter or a sub-inch device. And so that's going to allow you, obviously, once you're getting into that sub-inch, some very precise mapping. So you could go out there and you could know where that utility is, and you could stand there with your tablet and say, okay, here's my utility. And you could walk out your bore line, and you could be obviously sub-inch accuracy, saying this is where this is being put in the ground. This is where this utility is in the ground. So it allows you to be much more accurate. As far as compatibility goes with our devices, this is currently compatible with Leica, EOS, and Trimble. Those are the GPS devices that this is compatible with. And another nice function that you can see on our pictures here is the log well drilling integration. So you're able to pull an LWD file straight off of your F5 Falcon and save your as-built. So in this bottom left picture, you're seeing this blue line that's kind of not quite in line with our pre-plan, but so that's showing an as-built that you're pulling in and laying it over top. So when it comes to turning in reports, you're able to say, okay, here is my pre-plan, this is where we're supposed to be, and here's my as-built, this is where we put it in the ground. So it's a helpful reporting tool when it comes to turning in your as-built. So once you either map out or draw out your bore line, it's going to allow some user-specific job site details. So based on bore line properties and target points, the application is going to give you a current rod-by-rod plan, which will update and change as you make changes to target points and entry-exit angles and so forth. It's going to show your overbend and utility intersection. If you've got an overbend going on or utility intersection, it's going to show those on that top and profile view, but it's also going to show in your rod-by-rod plan. It's going to highlight it in there and tell you you've got something going on. It has the ability to manually bring in topography if you've got topography information that, say you didn't map it and you used the Google Earth, but you had some better topography information than what Google Earth was giving you. You can pull that in here. And it also allows you to do manual as-built. So, if you don't have the Falcon or are unable to bring your LWD files straight in, if you're recording as-builts on paper, you can come back and put those in here for a reporting aspect. So unlike bore plan, Projects, as I said, has a reporting feature. And that's just a couple examples. These bottom two pictures are a couple examples of different reports you can get. It helps make your deliverables look very professional. You can select from a variety of different types of reports to help build that custom report to turn in for documentation, whether it's a requirement or something that you just like to do. Any questions on Projects? All right, so the next one we're going to move into is Vermeer Assist. Vermeer Assist is, this application is downloaded directly onto your DCI Aurora display. And it allows the user to load, edit, and create bores right on the rig, right on your Aurora display. So what I mean by load, you can take your rod by rod plan from projects. You can take that rod by rod, that roadmap, and you can upload it into Assist. And it's going to show that plan. It's going to give you your rod by rod right on Assist, and then you move through, similar to what you would do in a when you're creating your own on the rig. It'll bring you through these different screens asking for job parameters, topography, target planning, etc. So if you've got your plan that you're bringing in, you can double check them and make sure and continue to move through. And when you're creating, on our job parameters, it'll prompt some user inputs of bore information similar to the previous applications, machine information, rod information. And then you can customize, put in your topography. You can customize your target points to make that bore look as you desire. And then once you're finished, either creating or finalizing that one from projects, you can finalize it, and it uploads directly into, you have to open it, but directly into the DCI LWD Live application on your Aurora. So it gives you that rod by rod plan right in front of the driller as they're working. So once it's finalized, as I said, you open LWD, you bring that board directly in, and on your drilling screen, it will give that rod by rod, in real time as you're putting rod in the ground. So the top picture we're looking at there is that pre-plan brought into LWD Live. And you can see the 0, 1, 2, 3, that's your rod by rod. That's telling you where you need to be on each rod. And the bottom picture, what you're looking at is it's pulling that information, pulling that as-built information from the locator and kind of showing you where you're at. So, if that blue line, that's your as-built, as you start to maybe get off, it's going to show you that. It's going to show your driller that, give him a good visual, and let him know maybe we need to start making some kind of corrections. Our fourth and final application here is Vermeer BoreDiz. BoreDiz is a perpetually licensed computer software that allows the user to complete some much more advanced bore planning. This software takes many more factors into account when designing a bore in order to give the users some very in-depth reporting functions, and helps them know whether the bore design is going to be an effective design. So BoreDiz has some very detailed design tools for topography input, soil data, and bore path planning. So as we're seeing in our three images here, the one on the left is your topography data. So you can bring in topography data. You can import it in here if you've got it. You can add topography data manually in here, edit points to get that topography where it needs to be. And then on our right images, the top image is actually the bore design, and it lets you design in a couple of different ways. So it's going to give you an initial design, but if you are wanting to design in a 5-part with that straight curve, straight, you can design by segment. If you've got target points you need to hit, you can design by target point. And it allows you to do some pretty intricate designing. The Soils Assistant, that bottom right picture, that tool allows the user to input some very detailed soil information based on, if you've got core samples, you're able to draw the soil in, if maybe you've got some similar to this picture, where it's following topography, you can draw it in if you've got, maybe there's two different types of soil kind of at the same elevation where they come into contact with each other. You can draw in soils as they are in the ground as you're getting from soil samples. Using the topography and the soil information, and as well as your machine information, bore path design, BoreAid provides the user with some very advanced calculations, such as allowable mud pressure downhole, pullback load, stresses and strains, and those are just a couple of examples that I have up on the screen here. This type of information is extremely valuable for thorough bore planning, especially on some of your more it allows crews to understand the possibility of inadvertent returns. Are we going to have one? How do we need to adjust our bore plan in order to avoid that? Or it allows them to show up to the job site knowing that maybe we have a possibility and we've got the proper tools to handle a situation like that. It'll also allow you to see different pullback features that will help or hurt your pullback stresses and strains, such as are you using rollers, are you using ballast, do you have an additional bend at the pipe exit, stuff like that. These calculations that it's coming up with are based on industry standards, such as like your slurry weight, your friction coefficients, pipe material properties, stuff like that. But they are able to be changed based on calculations of your engineers working on these designs. So if say for soil, for example, you've got a soil sample and you've got the exact properties of that soil. Well, BoreAid's got this is your standard. These are the specs of this soil. If you've got specs that you'd like to input yourself, it allows that, soil on your product, anything like that. So similar to projects, BoreAid is going to allow the user to custom build their report depending on what they're being required to provide or what they're wanting to provide in a report. So due to all the advanced calculations, as you can see on the right there, you can see a little over half of them. This application provides a lot of different reporting functions. There are almost 50 different reports that can be selected. And those reports are going to be as simple as your project summary and your rod by rod, similar to what you saw on projects, or all the way up to graphs and tables of stresses and strains on product, your allowable pressures, etc. So it's a very in-depth tool, but it is a good tool when it comes to making some of those more complicated shots. So for more information about any of these tools, you can visit store.vermeer.com, and it's going to have a good breakdown of each of these tools. Or you can contact your Vermeer representative, or you can reach out to me. And like I said, we've got our contact page again here with you guys' Midwest contacts, and then mine included there on the bottom right. So that is all I have as far as the products themselves. So I guess we'll open up now for some questions if people have questions.
Yeah, so Austin, I might have missed something, but I wanted to touch a little bit on the Bore Plan app and how we can use that. And I think it's a free app, right? So how exactly does that work?
Yeah, that's correct. So let me run back here. So, as I said, it's a free mobile app. So if you go to, it's available on iOS and Android. So if you go to your Apple store or your Android store, look for Bore Plan, as it says, it's free. You can download it. You can play around with it. Maybe you're newer to bore planning to the online bore planning or application-based bore planning, it's a good tool to play around with and see how it works for you, see if you like it, and it's got some helpful features to it as well.
Very good. And so how about the other apps? What do you offer in terms of trials and demonstrations and all that?
Yeah, so on projects, we will offer, that's kind of what I'm here for. We'll do, obviously we're in an interesting time here. It's hard to get out on actual job sites, but we do a lot of WebExes for demos. So if a company's wanting a demo on projects, reach out to your Midwest rep or reach out to me, and we can get a demo set up via WebEx where I can show you some of the ins and outs of projects. And then as far as trials, we will do 30-day trials of projects. If it's something that you think, maybe this will be a useful tool for our company, we'll offer trials on it so you can try it out, see how it works on some different shots and stuff like that.
Very cool.
Bore Assist is that's an application, like I said, for the Aurora. That's if you want it, it's you purchase it through the store and get it put on your Aurora. And then for BoreAid, kind of depends. We'll do however long. They're not as long as our project trials, but we'll do 3, 7, 10-day trials, just kind of depending on what the situation is.
Okay, cool. And so say you love all the Vermeer Projects apps. What is the cost for all of these projects?
Yeah, so Vermeer Projects is going to be a $5,000 fee for the subscription for the first year. So you pay $5,000 for that first year, and then it's a $2,000 fee every subsequent year after to renew. Bore Assist is, like I said, it's a one-time purchase. It's per Aurora screen. So that's going to go on that Aurora screen. It's $1,000 to purchase the Bore Assist application. And then for BoreAid, it's perpetually licensed. So it's $5,000 that goes on that computer. And then it is, you can also purchase a network license. So with the network license, you will have to be connected to the same network, but you will get 3 logins for that network license for $9,000 instead of the $5,000 per one computer.
Okay, great. If you want to throw up that contacts page one more time, just so that people can take a screenshot if they need to or anything like that. So far, we don't have any other questions, but we can hang on for a little bit if anybody comes up with something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also another note for any of you guys out there listening, if you have any topic ideas or other drill things you want to cover, please let me know. My email is kelsey.cool@Vermeer Midwest. I'm the one that's always sending out the invites and everything and all the Zoom info. So you can obviously just respond back to that and I'll get back to you. But I would love to hear what you think and what all we can provide for you guys. So we appreciate you all joining. And I think that one other thing here, we've still got our drill fluid promotion going on through mid-May. So keep looking and purchasing your cases of drill fluids because there could be a golden ticket in there. So you get that, you get a nice cooler with a bunch of swag from Vermeer Midwest and either Pro Action or Right Turn Supply. So. All right, well, Austin, I really appreciate you joining us today and teaching us a little bit about these apps. It's definitely something that, you know, you might not think about all the time, but it certainly does make your jobs a lot easier when you've got this type of technology with it. So we appreciate
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all next Friday at the same time.
Thanks, Kelsey.
Bye.